Yo, welcome back to more Kagetsu Tohya. Last time, in the midst of just continually looping in this weird dream state of, for some reason, why it's happening here, right? Like, we've already talked about the comparison to why in the Fate universe, or that other side of things, why that occurs. That makes more sense to me, understanding, like, the second magic and everything, but here it's a little less clear, especially when you factor in this girl who's going around seemingly supporting kind of the foundation of this, trying to do that. We don't know exactly what compels her to do that, or like who she is, or how she, like, all these questions, right? But Shiki, by the end of last part, came to the conclusion that it's not against him, right? She's not working against him. It's not anything that she's like doing that is evil or anything, but still just confusing. And we see in the interactions he had with her last time, like running into her in the alley and just in various places. It seems like, you know, when she's in her little cat form going around, she's kind of keeping an eye on things. It's what it seems like, but even just her facial expressions, the way like she reacts to what Shiki says, and because at that point, when he ran into her in the alley, that was right before it was going to restart again, and they both like faded to nothing. Then it restarted again, right? Because that was the first time we exceeded the point and saw what happened, right? Nasu getting away with it again, but it's a cool idea to explore in this side of things, because even though I've played through Hollow Ataraxia, it's like I still don't know what's going on here. There's still so many fucking questions. But the big thing was Shiki acknowledging that, yes, this is a dreamlike state where a lot of good things are happening, right? He can spend time with Akiya, with Isui Koaku, without a heat, like with everyone, like Arcueid, Ciel, like holy shit, like what a scenario that he can do this, right? It's like a dream, right? But when he looks specifically at, you know, the killer Shiki, which is funny, like another Shiki, goddammit. But when he sees like the killer Shiki that's out there, even like before this revelation, it always seemed weird, right? Like, is he really out there killing? Like, who is this killer Shiki, right? Even then, it just didn't seem real. But he just straight up acknowledged that as his nightmare, right? That just like manifest. And a couple of you said, like, you know, the idea of him leaving his knife behind, because of course that physically arms him, but it also arms his mind. So this being like a dreamlike state, that's very important for him to like leave that behind, because now that he's acknowledged that, that will trigger running into him if he like arms his mind in that way. So I don't know, I guess Shiki has to be on his guard in that regard continually, just to not run into him and then for shit to collapse again. I don't know, Shiki, I guess, maybe has to deal with that internally, or who the fuck knows, man. But it was a cool place to leave off on, right? Because Shiki, even though he has, this kind of innate, like, sense about everything that's going on, like memories that don't seem to be his, or at least from my perspective, I don't know, it's just, there's so many pieces, and it's slowly coming together, which makes sense, but it's very cool to see. But now, I want to check out another one of these side stories. I was warned that one of these are going to be like, I'm probably just going to skip, but Red Demon God is kind of catching my eye right here. So I think I'm going to do that one for this part before we go back into the main story, and we'll probably just alternate a couple parts of main story, checking out one of the side stories. I think that'll be a cool way to approach it. And and I guess last thing before I finally click this, so, like, realizing in hindsight, after being told basically that was a continuation, story for the evening was continuation of Akiya's true end, I was like, holy shit, that makes a lot more sense. You know, why she was speaking that way about Shiki and him being gone. Like, I thought he was just away from her. Like, kind of the same canon scenario that it is in the main story. I think, because, at the beginning I kind of entertained the idea of, like, what canon is this? But then I was like, oh, this must be the main one. But no! True and Akiya, which made everything so much better to realize after the fact. Like, it was a good story in itself, but when I like understood that, I was like, damn. So checking this out, I'm gonna keep that in mind, but it might not even follow that at all. This might be these side stories could even establish like their own canon, right? Like who knows what this is gonna be. So, but the title of this is very cool. So let's see this Red Demon God, Crimson Demon God, maybe. So let's see. Here we go. Hey, let me tell you an old story. They busted out the new font. Look at that. Red Demon God prologue. You about to get edgy. You saw that blood text? For a split second, there was a dull yet smooth sound. Ah. The man died by getting his neck crushed from the front. It wasn't an instant death, but a painful death which takes a few seconds after receiving the fatal wound. We're starting with this, alright. Even so, the man could never see the figure of the attacker. In the few seconds until he died, the only thing he was thinking was to let the others know that there was an attacker. Have I heard this song? This is dramatic as fuck. Another smooth sound. Right next to the man, the other guard who was literally an arm's length from him died similarly as well. What a bad dream, the man thought. Dude, this is that night, right? This is that massacre that happened. If there were any intruders in their area, they wouldn't even let a rat pass through. And now he was dying without even noticing the death of his partner. Wait, is this? This can only be a dream. But this was reality. It wasn't the work of a human. It could have been a familiar that is skilled in hiding its presence or the work of a demon unknown to him. The pupil enlarged. The camera called the eyeball caught the figure of the assailant before it lost its function. That was clearly smiling. The figure was a human. The presence and smell was no different from a normal human either. In his hands, he was carrying something that looks like a drumstick. The man was surprised that his neck was crushed by such a thing, and he was surprised even more by the fact that the assailant was really just a human. The assailant walked on quietly. Another smooth sound. The guards in the other areas died just like them. It's a terrible dream, the man thought. Without any presence or reek of murder, an ordinary human who does not have any mixed blood was crushing through the tight defense of the inhuman bloodlines. Okay, yeah. Because I was wondering, when they said that of mixed blood, I was like, it must have been having inhuman blood. I see. The man was convinced in his disappearing consciousness. That is our enemy this time. The taboo within the hybrids, the head of the Nanayas, who's said to be a demon god. There it is. There it is, dude. I was waiting for it. Yo, here we go. Oh my god. That assailant's name was Nanaya Kiri. Dude, I'm glad, and I'm so glad I triggered that scene with the doctor before getting to this. Actually, that might have been the trigger that unlocked this, so never mind. Half an hour had passed since the assault began. Kiri had already taken care of all the guards outside the mansion. Now he only needed to assassinate his target within. So, no, this is just straight up Shiki's dad doing, oh my god. There were 20 men outside the mansion. That was more than what Kiri was told. 20. Wow. It's an excessive murder, Kiri laughed. It was an innocent laugh, like a child's. Killing was the profession of the young man called Nanaya Kiri. Dude, I'm finally learning about this guy. Oh my god. Because I think we heard this, talking about him, briefly. Might have been in the far side of Tsukihime. But, yeah, I've been waiting for this, dude. Especially, learning his name, a couple parts ago. Damn. To put it simply, an assassin. And it was an assassin with a history that is going back generations. No doubt, in the past or present, and hopefully in the future, such a job title should not be allowed. Because it's not allowed, such thing should not exist. That's why the Nanaya family had been living in the shadow of shadows, in the darker dark. No, the reason why they had to hide in the shadows is not because of their job, but it had to be their bloodline. Oh my god. They're busting out the tracks for this one. There's a thing called a demon. Even though it exists within the rule of nature, here is a power that isn't needed because it is said to disrupt its flow. There are many types of them, but they will all appear evil for someone who is within the straight flow. A demon is a disruption, and demon hunters are a gathering of those who fix the disruption. But disruption isn't of a single type. The demon hunters fix disruptions within nature, but can't fix the disruption within humans. For example, there is a type of demon called the ogre. This is a type that isn't in the straight flow from the beginning, and clearly a genuine demon. The demon hunters are fit to banish them, but it's a different story when these ogres mix with humans. See, we're just... Get it? Don't look at me like that! Shout out to my girlfriend.
Nerd.
Calling me a nerd. I'm getting bullied on my own video.
Nerd. Well, you're in my home, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Nerd.
You're just coming in here to bully me?
Yeah.
Right on camera?
Uh-huh.
That's what we're doing now?
Uh-huh.
Why are you rocking me? Alright, let me keep going.
Okay.
God damn it. Let me get focused again. So I'm just thinking back to Holotraxia whenever Kaden was talking about demons. I was kind of wanting to hear more about that. Like, she kind of got into, like, her role and how, like, identifying them and that kind of thing. And I was like, man, it would be cool to, like, learn more about demons themselves. And, like, yeah, because they mentioned that in Tsukihime before. Or specifically, like, how they were of mixed blood, like, inhuman blood, right? That kind of thing. And, you know, the hunters, right? The Nanayas who hunt them as well. But I'm just taking this all in now. Like, we're getting all this information now. Like, hell yeah. Getting into an interesting, edgy part of what's going on here. Let's go. Because the Demon Hunters are an organization in the lawful spell branch created by humans to protect the human society, they are not supposed to hurt humans. For that reason, they will have a difficult time against the mix of demon and human. Okay. A long time ago, there were many who wished to become hybrids with the demons, who are greater beings, and as a result, a few of them made that possible. So this makes me, like, think of how, Makihisa was able to kill them, right? They have a difficult time against mixed of demon and human, so that would make sense in that regard. Wish to become hybrids with the demons who are greater beings, and as a result, a few of them made that possible. Who wished, huh? Using the power of the demons, even as a human, they sometimes help the demon hunters, while sometimes they become their worst enemies. That ratio is very fragile. The hybrids who place themselves with the demon hunters and the hybrids who oppose the demon hunters hate each other, and they continue to fight below the surface. Of course, the demon hunters oppose the hybrids as well. But as a general principle, demon hunters are those who fix the disruption. Demons are disruptions just by existing, so they banish them right away. But demon-human hybrids are not a disruption. In order for a hybrid to be considered a disruption, demon blood needs to become thicker than the human blood. These demon hybrids who can't maintain the human side anymore are seen as being out of alignment, and the demon hunters finally see them as their target. Yeah, that's a weird line to tread. Like, you could see how they'd have trouble against that, even just making that distinction. However, when the hybrids go out of alignment, they become the worst enemy for the demon hunters. Because they have a human side, binding spells won't work on them, and because they have the alien power of the demons, it's impossible to stand up against them with the body of a human. In the past, when weapons were undeveloped, killing them meant many casualties. However, there was a special case. What was the special case? Psychic ability. Even though the demons and the demon hunters oppose each other, their powers actually originate from the same place. Yeah, because they were just, talking about that, like in the beginning. Therefore, there is a common rule between them, and they have a fair fight within its bounds. But rarely, there are ones who are outside of the rule. Those are the alien powers called psychic abilities, and the psychics. They don't follow the rules of demons and carry inhuman powers as pure humans. Some say that this is a suppressing power that was born from the unconsciousness of mankind. That is wild. See, now I'm just thinking of fucking what's it called, Fujino, and even just like kind of the mystic eyes in general. I don't know if that's like considered a different just because it's the eyes themselves originate that, but it's cool to see like talking about that origin. I'm not sure what all falls within this bounds. I don't know, like if you could consider Fujino specifically, or even those who have the mystic eyes. I mean, because this could explain just why Shiki has them themselves, or like, both Shikis. There were triggers for those, like the near-death experiences for the eyes of death perception, but this is very cool either way, even if that doesn't apply to those cases. The targets of the suppression are, no doubt, the ones who are a threat to the humans, who are the highest of primates. People who achieve these abilities don't need to study an out-of-date technology like sorcery. Ignoring the principle of yin and yang, the interaction with nature, psychic ability is an extreme power achieved by the human race, who became detached from nature. And that, in that last part is like a big thing within the Tsukihime world as well, from what I've been told and what I've seen. Without interacting with nature like demons, they have superhuman power while still being humans. They are just like the hybrids, but instead of borrowing power from alien blood, they are humans born with special abilities. Because they are advanced abilities, they end a single generation after an accidental appearance. Jesus. Commonly called the Psychics, they are the bane of the demon hybrids. Dude, we are loring out right now. Okay, so here we go. And applying all that now, to put it simply, the Nanaya clan is a special case of them. Okay, here we go. But note, psychics are not stronger than demons. It's impossible for them to stand against them. The psychic ability is just a small needle that doesn't follow the rules of the yin and yang. Those abilities and effects are extremely small compared to the interaction with nature of the demons and demon hunters, and there's no way a psychic is able to fight them alone. Okay, I see. And even Karen's ability, right? Would that be considered psychic as well? Because she can sense them, right? Like her body can just naturally, like she feels it, so that might apply to that as well. But I'm gonna reread this real quick. But note, psychics are not stronger than demons, it's impossible. Right, so they can't stand alone. So what do they need? But still, a power outside the rule can be a threat to those who live inside the rule. The demon hunters hide their existence in the beginning and use them to catch the hybrids off guard by having them appear in the middle of the battle. Interesting. So they gotta use a tactic that way. It's kind of like saying a psychic's support is a stone that is thrown between two people glaring at each other. The psychics use their unusual abilities to just once create a decisive opening in their opponent. That's how demon hunters use the psychics, and even for the hybrids, they are just a bothersome, unpredictable factor. Yes, there's not a chance in a million in this world that such a thing as psychic ability, which is only the power of a human, can defeat a demon that is nature. However, and I like that as well, that they define that as nature as well, like a demon. However, here was the one in a million demon god. Oh my god. Since the ancient times, the Nanayas lived for generations without mixing their blood. Many hideous children were born for being incestuous, Jesus, but the ones who were able to grow up became powerful. Repeating that single blending was the reason they were able to solidly carry on their psychic abilities, which are supposed to be a mutational gene that lasts only for one generation. So they had to do that shit to keep that going. Goddamn. On top of that, the Nanayas polished their skills as assassins and learned a way to bring the psychics who were normally on a suicide mission home alive. As a result, we have the Nanaya clan with power outside the boundary of a human, and the human body trained to the limit. At that point, they were not considered a clan with psychic ability, but a clan which is specifically given the title of Demon Hunters. That was the only way for the Nanaya family, who were psychics discriminated against even more than the hybrids at times, to show their usefulness and live. I just want to say one more time, it's so cool that to have this expanded on so much more than just like the mentioning back in Tsukihime. Like when, I think it was when Shiki was looking through Makihisa's office, like through his journal and his notes and stuff. Because yeah, that was the only time Shiki could even learn about that kind of shit. But yeah, it's very cool. That's how the demon hunters possessed the Nanayas as their absolute war power. A long and boring time passed by after that. The Nanayas kept on being the greatest assassins. The greatest. Shiki comes from greatness. They knew better than anyone else that the moment they fall down from the top, the Nanaya bloodline will die out. Well, and we know what happened to them. An echoing smooth sound. Within a few minutes after Kiri entered the mansion, he killed a sixth person. Nanaya Kiri specialized in indoor jobs. There are walls and there's a ceiling. Kiri's field of activity would expand to them, and he moved like a spider that captures its prey. His speed was not a spider's, but a beast's. If there was an observer, he would have marveled at how bizarre yet beautiful a human can move. Dude, Shiki's dad was a badass, man. What the fuck? I mean, we kind of knew that, but we just get a whole scene of him in action. 2 ahead, no 3. Kiri confirmed his target through the wall. He had assassinated over 30 so far. They had all been relatives of a man called Saiki, the target, and each one of them had been a hybrid monster. So just another mission for Kiri, huh? The truth was that Nanaya Kiri was the weakest being among the people inside the mansion. No matter how much power he wielded as a demon hunter, the power of a single human was too little. There's no way he could win against a demon that links to the world and changes the environment. On top of that, Kiri's psychic ability was only auxiliary, the ability to see the flow of people's thoughts. See, there you go. Just outright said it there. It was too thin a thread to challenge a lair of monsters who could easily do things like reversing the temperature and freeze the opponent just by glaring at them. Okay, I didn't know demon powers got that crazy. Because we never really seen, I guess, just an outright example of the kind of shit they can do. Like, so far, it's more so, I guess, specifically for the Tonos, it was more like a power-up, like their inversion impulse to just Hulk the fuck out and lose their goddamn mind and, I guess, die one day. But, yeah, I guess the powers can vary a lot. But yeah, so the fact that was Kiri's basically only power, his psychic ability just to see the flow of people's thoughts, that's a powerful thing when applied the right way, but we'll see how it goes. But Kiri only needed that thread. By stretching the thin thread around, changing the monster's lair into his own hunting ground, he killed his prey one by one. Of course there couldn't be any murderous intentions or tensions. For the head of the Nanayas, this hunting ground was his daily routine. He took out another 3. The thing in Kitty's hand was only a steel drumstick. Yeah, it's so weird they described his weapon like that. Because is that, Nanatsu Yoru? It must not be, because being described as a steel drumstick, that's so strange. He liked to use this plain weapon, and he used it to thrust into the vital spots of a human. That was a savage way of killing, because Nanatsu Yoru, like, was his blade, right, that he left. It was the only thing Shiki got from his real family. Not that Shiki really feels any connection to being an Anaya at all, but that's like the one thing, so I don't know, it'd be a weird descriptor if that's what it is. But considering he's thrusting it into the vital spots, it probably is. That was a savage way of killing, far from the superior assassination skill called the pressure point. With the points of the stick that is neither thin nor thick, he crushed the bones instead of the muscle. Okay, crush, so yeah, drumstick. At times, he thrust at the opponent's head from above and caused the head to be pushed into the body. Like his name said, his weapon was more like a giant awl than a drumstick. It couldn't cut, but it could make holes. Wow. He's just he's just thrusting a fucking drumstick into their bodies and making holes. What the fuck? As a result, it was rare that he got stained with the blood of his enemy like this. Kitty shook off the blood by wielding the drumstick. There were only 2 more people in the mansion. Alright, time to theory craft. Kitty versus Kiritsugu. Who wins, man? Who the fuck wins? He was planning to spill the smell of blood here to alarm his prey, but he ended up drilling a hole into one with extra high tension. And did Nasu just straight up, like, take Kitty's name and just add Tsugu? I mean, that's fine. I mean, because even with Kiritsugu, like, his name is significant, like, to cut and tie, right? And that gets his whole origin, too, so. Well, that's funny. Like, why not? Why not reuse stuff used before and just add a new twist on it, right? Because then it just becomes, like, super referential and connected. Like, I'm not even mad at it. It's just kind of funny. It's cool, actually. Let's see. There were only 2 more people in the mansion. He was planning to spill the smell of blood here to alarm his prey, but he ended up drilling a hole into one with extra high tension. Disgusting blood. It even smells nasty. The irritated assassin said to himself. Getting showered by blood, Nanaya Kiri stomped his footsteps for the first time. He didn't like blood, thinking that the sticky red color might bring down his precision. And oh yeah, it's not even that they're both named Kiri, I guess Kiritsugu, but whatever. Also, they're the dad of the protagonist, the assassin dad of the protagonist from their series. Nanaya Kiri found no pleasure in killing. He took this path just because he was born into the Nanaya family and was physically fitter than his siblings. He wasn't like his older brother who enjoyed killing, or like his younger sister who was highly sensitive to demons and feared them. To say the least, he was the type of person who dedicates himself to one thing. How skillfully he could put a stop to a human body. That pursuit was a duty for those born in the Nanaya family. Nanaya Kiri was just doing that single-mindedly. When he noticed there was no one who was better than him, and after he was chosen as the head, he just kept on killing the mixed beings every day for years. If you look back, that's all there was to his life. But Kitty never felt it as a burden. The only thing on his mind was how skillfully he could kill someone. That was the only meaning to his life since he was born as an Anaya. The 8th guy went pretty good. I'll try that again when I get home. I like his commentary as he's fucking killing these guys. Out of the 30 people he had killed today, Kitty recalled the one he was able to kill the quickest. There was no enjoyment or pain. Nanaya Kiri lacked those emotions. Therefore, he was suited for being the head of the Nanayas. not enjoying or fearing murder, but being able to concentrate on it is the natural talent of a killer. That killer suddenly felt something strange. An foreign object entered his view, which it had been perceiving only 2 more people. Oh. There was a vermilion flow inside the mansion. Oh shit. Nanayakiri was able to perceive people's thoughts. Thoughts are waves, and most of them have a dull, transparent color, in which emotions can be lightly read by the speed of its flow. Alright, that's cool. I like the way they describe that, of how like he uses his power and how he perceives that, how he sees it. That's cool. But there's some with their own color. And this one's vermilion. There are monsters that are too horrifying to be described as a human. As far as Kitty knew, there were a few in the Demon Hunter organization with a divine color of blue and silver. Interesting. This was Vermilion. Is there a counter for how many times the word Vermilion was said in Tsukihime? It's all prepped for this moment. No, if I approach its body, I'll probably perceive a clearer red. Kitty had never seen a thought that strong, a thought that wicked. Without finishing to wipe the blood that still dripped from his hair, Nanayakiri started walking. Inside was a boy who looked barely 10 years old. The boy was wounded all over his body, and his hands and legs were chained. What? It was apparent that was alienated even among the hybrids, and Kitty saw what it was right away. But it had nothing to do with Kitty after all. If this boy was here to protect Kitty's target, only then he needed to kill him, but that wasn't even given such a job. I feel like I'm about to have a realization that I haven't so far. Like, I want to say it, but I'm not sure. Like, this might just be a whole new truth that just unraveled. But I'm just going to keep going. I'm just letting it go. For Nanayakiri, this boy was no different from a pebble on the road. Kitty's job was to ignore and walk past him. The sound of chains. The boy looked up and perceived Nanayakiri. That moment, Nanayakiri thrust his weapon into the boy's face. He pulled out the drenched drumstick. The weapon crushed the boy's eye completely. Jesus. Without even screaming, the boy's head dropped down. The dripping blood stained the tatami floor, and Kitty left the room. Because I was going to say, seeing that room, I'm like, That was the one and only personal murderous act done by the Master of Assassins. He found out the reason why at the end. Well, let's keep going. What the fuck? That personal murderous intention destroyed his precise irrationality for the first time. He must have been excited. The course of action of the Nanayakiri took after that was so terrible that it suggests vomiting. Oh, can we not? Oh god. He barged into the room where Saiki, the target, and a man who was sent to keep an eye on him were. That wasn't like Nanayakiri. The reason he was able to come back alive after fighting against the hybrids was because all of that was done by assassination. A barbarous act like this was suicide. And the hybrid called Saiki didn't hesitate to use all of his power against Nanayakiri, who was invading instead of sneaking in. Yeah, he just barged in. Goddamn. No, let me make a correction. Who is narrating this? He didn't hesitate because his opponent was the murderer Nanayakiri. This man saw that from the closest place. This man was the eldest son of a hybrid family and knew the head of the Saiki family. Oh my god, is it him? Vermilion, dude, it has to be him. Oh my god. But unlike Saiki, he cooperated with the demon hunters. Because for him, his family's safety was a lot more important than the pride of his ancestors. And he secretly formed an alliance with the demon hunter organization and worked under Saiki while he kept an eye on him and made reports. Okay, that doesn't sound like him. But maybe, I don't know. It was he who was reporting that Saiki ate human flesh and that there were more than 1,000 casualties. Originally, Saiki was the old type of hybrid full of dominance, and from the view of a hybrid who just wanted to live peacefully like this one, he was just an annoying old man. On top of that, if this old man who was a dictator died, the Saiki group cooperation would have a hole in it. It was his ambition as a businessman to make use of it. That's how the man sold the Saiki bloodline, and the demon hunters who bought it sent an assassin called Nanayakiri. Okay, so that explains why this is happening, but what now? The man raised a pathetic voice and realized what a dangerous place he was in. He raised the voice like a broken doll, but that disappeared behind the consistently echoing smooth sounds. Be, gi, zu, splash, 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 splat. Is this what's called no questions asked? The man was looking at the evil demon with the laughter. There was no other choice but to look. Just as if a storm ripped into the room, the assassin annihilated Saiki's body. When the Fusuma door opened and the assassin made an appearance, the man cursed. That was hopeless. Even if you prepare a dozen demon hunters, they won't be able to win head-on against Saiki, who completely awakened his demon blood, just instantly inverted. Just as he thought that this was all there was to the rumored head of the Nanayas, it happened. There was a wooden table in the traditional Japanese room. The assassin slid under it as he appeared. What the fuck? The man and Saiki were caught off guard. For one thing, this is a small table. What is he doing? The instant he thought that, Saiki was dragged under the table by his foot. Then this. There was no time for Saiki to scream. Jesus. The kitty was different, man. The moment he was dragged under the table, the head of the old man called Saiki rolled over the tatami floor. The body parts started flying everywhere. Dude, this sounds ridiculous. Started flying everywhere. Under that table, in a space so small that barely one person fit into it, a terrible dissection took place. And then, drenched in blood all over his body, the assassin crawled out. What the fuck? Dude, I'm gonna have to reread that shit. What is that, dude? Just slid under, pulled him under, his head rolled, and everything else went flying off him. Dissected. Jesus Christ. And he just laughs. Nanaya Kitty approached the man who can't help but laughing. Oh, the other guy laughed. The emotionless eyes gazed at him, who was also a hybrid. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me for sure, he sensed. He pointed at the random assassin and laughed. The assassin, holding the weapons drenched in blood, stood in front of the man and pushed Saiki's head rolling next to his foot. A heavy sound. While holding the skewered head as if he got rid of an annoying fly. Shut up. He's fucking kitty, dude. He struck his other weapon into the heart of the man who kept on laughing. The reason the Nayakiri missed the vital spot was, again, probably because he was terribly excited. Yeah, because it said the moment he killed the boy before, it just threw him off because he actually got, like, into it. Jesus. The man who was laughing fell, and Kitty left the mansion without checking whether he was dead or alive. The man who had his chest struck survived. Oh my god, wait, is that why? Oh my god. Dude, because what if that was Maki-san? Look, Vermilion, dude. What if that was him, and that's the reason he came back and just got all of them, right? Like, he lived. Because, like, I know, like, fuck. Because, Maki-san took in Shiki and, like, basically took him as another son. And, you know, after what happened later between him, original other Tono like, actual Tonoshiki, and, Akiya, you know, that whole, like, switch, like, fully happened. But before then, like, you know, the reason why he would just go kill all the Nanayas, right? A vendetta. Holy shit. I might be completely wrong, but that makes total sense to me. I don't know. I'm never sure about anything when it comes to type and shit. I got confused so many times in Tsukihime, but they haven't confirmed it. They didn't say the dude's name. Look, Vermilion, come on, dude. The way he described him, like cared about his family, like that. I might have misunderstood that, but and that might be true. That might be true for Makihisa. Like, he was a cruel ass, awful, disgusting mother. Like, fuck that guy. Like, obviously, fuck that guy. It's just an interesting way to describe him from another perspective, right? Because if that was him, like, goddamn, that kind of brings shit together, unless I'm forgetting something. For some odd reason, I saw 4 dreams. A dream in which I went back to my childhood. A dream in which I became a child. A dream in which I thought of a child. Why is this making me think of when Shiki saw the kid version of himself? I forget which end of the route in Tsukihime it was. It might have been the end of Ciel's route, I think so. Because I think it was the very first at the very end that I got. Because I started with Ciel's route. This just reminds me of that. Oh, and one more. Myself laughing terribly out of place, and myself in my childhood similarly laughing together in a sunny garden. A sunny garden. Oh my god. Alright, let's keep going. I've already said what I think so far, but that was cool, dude. Kitty's a badass, man. Jesus. But he didn't finish the job. He got excited. And that might have changed everything right there. In fact, it definitely did. He was in a dark, traditional Japanese room. This was the space he was given since he was little, and this was the only space in which he was able to be free. He was only a small child, so he was satisfied with this size. He even remembered complaining that it was too big. He wasn't very comfortable being with the others in the first place. Because his eyes were special, oh my god, and it was an eye that seemed to look into the inner side of people. Wait, is this the perspective of that kid that he killed? Oh my god. Because now they're describing a kid with mystic eyes, obviously, who looks into their inner side. That's why he never learned words until he grew quite big. Probably because he was able to feel what people were thinking without talking. On top of that, the words that they used to communicate didn't really match their emotions. True. That's why he didn't learn words. He thought that it was useless to learn a method of communication that is so incoherent. It was only natural. He was taught one thing in the beginning. A year passed after that. There wasn't really anyone who came to see him during that time. This is more sad than anything, of course. Just used for his one ability. There was nothing else to do, so he repeated what he was taught, and that became boring, so he modified it to a way that was easier for him to do. And when he was taught the second thing, it was after he had already learned it. Maybe not having a teacher was beneficial, and he was able to use his body without being restricted by common sense. That's interesting. His talent had been discovered at that point. He knew that this was a way to kill people since he was born. Ooh. He knew well that this family was that kind of family and that he couldn't escape from that obligation. This is a kid within the Saiki family. I see. I mean, if this is supposed to be the same room. I don't know if we're going out of order here. That's why the rest was really simple. He accepted that and kept on polishing his techniques. That was the only meaning of his existence. Anything else must have been bothersome for them. That's why he just kept on running. Without looking back and without thinking of anything else, he aimed for somewhere. Even as a child, he thought that he was just going to think about how well he could kill someone all his life. But as a result, that was wrong. Ooh. The boy was in a dark, traditional Japanese room. This was the space he was given since he was little, and this was the only space in which he was able to be free. Alright, well, we gotta repeat. The boy was only a small child, so I think he was satisfied with this size. The boy glares at the empty space as if he's complaining that it was too big. The boy didn't understand people in the first place. Their behaviors, expressions, words. He didn't understand anything well. The boy thought he must not be a human, but a dog. Jesus. There was a severe gap that if that wasn't it, he might have gone crazy. That gap wasn't solved until the boy met the same type of person as him. Everyone called him a demon child. They were a clan that continued to mix with the pure demon called an ogre in the first place. But once the boy who preserved the desired purity was born, the clan desperately tried to hide his existence. Even they who were not normal must have realized that he wasn't something that should be born. So the sins of their bloodline over several hundred years had finally taken shape in their generation. It's almost like they made Angara Mainyu. Wow. Those who were called the Kishimas finally realized that they were taking the path to destruction when they got there. Okay, Kishimas, got it. So that's who this is. His family. No doubt that is where all the bloodlines of the hybrids end. They were just terribly slower than the others, or terribly earlier. The boy was never taught anything. No one talked to him in the first place, so there was no need to learn words, and there was never a need to tell others his thoughts either. The boy's vicious eyes pull out the inner side of people. Most of the people who met him were nothing but terrified. That's how the boy learned that people were like that, and since they only act like that, there was no need for him to learn words. Man. That's just really sad. Like, his ability, just augments that even more. That he can just tell so much about people, how they feel, that their words don't match how they really feel, and just not even being taught how to understand words, and himself not even feeling the need for that just because it was so troublesome. Like that contradiction. That fucking sucks. It was only natural. The boy liked the forest and wished to be among the animals. They didn't allow that. Even if it was just out of formality, they couldn't let the successor of the family live in such a way. More than anything, it must have been an embarrassment for them to have the next head of the family wishing to live like a beast. But the boy wasn't a fool like they were thinking, and he matured pretty fast. The boy knew how to seal his power early on. As a matter of fact, he never opened his cage since he was born. That was like a fasting that began right when he was born. The boy just kept on suppressing his thirst, and the beast called himself. Normally, the bloodlust only happens after growing up as a human and finding something in need of protection. Interesting. The inversion impulse, there it is, that the boy's bloodline experiences destroys the person within a year, even the mind of an adult. Seems it's not just the Tonos, of course. It destroys everyone. The boy was withstanding that quietly. It should have been impossible for a child who does not know words and does not know what a family is. But he did it, goddamn. In other words, the boy was trying to protect his family without even knowing. And what did it say? Finding something in need of protection. There it is. Father, mother, siblings, he doesn't know how those things are related with himself. But he was suppressing himself to protect them. That's probably because he knew that someday returning to soil peacefully after being forgotten like that was the right thing. Returning to soil. And I like that because that just makes me think of how the lore describes demons as being close with nature. But that didn't last long. And his compulsion to want to go be with the animals, right? To go be in nature. The one who put an end to it was someone other than the boy. Oh my god. You were out of your mind since you were born. Receiving that curse, the boy was shot in the head with a bullet. What the fuck? Those words were true. The boy was different since he was born. That was why he was able to suppress the blood longer than them and didn't go crazy like them. He was just fucking killed? What the hell? And then, the boy who was out of his mind since he was born couldn't even die from such a thing. Oh, it didn't kill him. Holy fuck. When the old man called Psyche brought his men, it was all over. Oh, here we go. The connection. The mansion burned down and the clan was slaughtered, leaving only one person. Yo, so Psyche and his people killed this family where the boy was at. What do they call them? The Kishimas? What goes around comes around. But it left only one person. He didn't understand what a family was in the first place, so ending it must have been easy for him. And that's, so Psyche came to kill them, took him back, and then Kitty ended up killing them when he came to go kill Psyche. Oh, that's fucked. I mean, that must have been what happened. That's how he was possessed. There was no regret, no remorse, no emotion, and no feelings. After all, that was a living being that can only exist that way from the beginning. That was just really sad. Oh my god. Once again, just so many things described in Tsukihime, also in Fate. I don't want to downplay, but especially in Tsukihime, for some reason, just the way Nasu wrote this and just the things he gets into are just so much more nausea-inducing and just uncomfortable and sad. I don't know, whatever zone he was in back then is just different. It's just different. And so he was in the old traditional Japanese room. He wanted and accepted this traditional room that was like a prison for him. He was sitting straight in the room, that's too big for a child and look absent-mindedly at the forest in the night. And you know, as well as the way he wrote, also like the music as well. Just a whole different vibe. He was frightened every time he looked at you. It was probably because he didn't know your looks well enough. After you were born, he left the organization. There were many who opposed, but he shut them up by force. That was wrong, but I think there was no other way. The perspectives are confusing me here, but I'm just gonna keep going. He came back to the mansion where he spent his childhood, and as a result, you were locked within the dark forest. I don't know which pronouns are referring to who here, like, I don't know whose perspective we're from right now. He wasn't thinking of making you go through the same life that he had. Even then, he taught you the minimum to protect yourself, and there was also a time when you were trying to copy him. But you weren't a person like him, and you were an unbelievably gentle child. When you said that you liked this place without anything, deep in the mountains, and said that you were going to live here all your life and pass away quietly, he was frightened again. He knew that the child's wish was his wish, and it was a wish that would never be fulfilled. Because he never talked much, you rarely spoke either. Even then, it was obvious to everyone that you loved him, who wasn't very good at expressing his feelings, and her, who was always sick in bed. Because you had an honest affection, everyone understood your mind without you having to put it into words. It was only natural that you didn't need words. Even then, he didn't take you out to the open until you were able to protect yourself. In the 6th winter, when this was soon to be settled, in the season waiting for spring, he heard a disturbing rumor. They said a certain group of hybrids was after his clan. He wasn't surprised. For one thing, his clan killed so many under the name of the organization. After losing their protection from the organization, there should be many who'd want to take revenge against his clan. This was also only natural. Makes sense. Especially knowing what's gonna happen. We're just seeing how it works politically within those within the organization and those who end up outside of it. Those within the rule, outside. But here we go. Hearing that his mansion was getting attacked soon, the Nayakiri laughed lightly. So there we go. Okay, got it. God damn, dude. Huh. Interesting. You idiot. This is no time to be laughing. There isn't much time. If you're going to do something about it, make it quick. Aren't you the head of the clan? You shouldn't be ending your bloodline in such a small disaster. The doctor glared at, yo, it's the same doctor. It's him, right? Because he knew him. Yo. This is a man he knew from way back. Even after Kitty left the organization, he couldn't just forget about him and secretly told him about the assault. But Nanaya Kitty, the person in question, was just sitting there laughing. But yo, hold on, just going back to this. Oh my god. That's crazy. I'm gonna keep going before we get into it more, but holy shit. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going before I just spill out everything I'm thinking right now. I have to see a little more. I maybe realized something from earlier. Okay, but I'm gonna keep going. No, but thanks for the information. But what difference does escaping make? If they're going to attack us, I would rather confront them in my own backyard. I don't intend on asking you for help, and moreover, this being the first hunting in a long while, Kitty sharpened his eyes. Kitty, didn't you leave the organization to break away from that job? You knew that assassins were no longer needed anymore. Isn't that why you went out of your way and left? If that's the case, stop preaching. Why is it that I have to listen to your lectures when I just came in for a treatment? Here, stop talking and start working, you quack. Got my shoulders busted working as a bodyguard when I haven't done so in a while. So yeah, at this point, Kitty's been done for a while. But he knows the assault is going to happen soon. And it must be the one I'm thinking of. Oh, fuck, man. The fact that he knew, too. Oh, Kitty. Come on, man. Just to hear him speak with the doctor here. I don't understand. Someone is after you when you're supposed to have quit, but you're minding your own business and taking on a job as a bodyguard for Tozaki. No, because you do odd things like that, there are fools who start seeing that Anayas is problematic. How can I help it? We've known the Tozaki since the previous head. Besides, they actually got some money. It was a pretty good job. I I thought you settled down after you had a child, but you haven't changed. After you had a child. Hello, Shiki. I heard you were a fond father, but I'm starting to be suspicious. Shut up. Forget that. Hurry up and finish it. Kitty didn't speak anymore, and the doctor treated him quietly. And suddenly, oh my god. No way, dude. There's no way. Hold up. Is this? Hey, old man. The assassin once feared as the demon god raised the voice in an extremely calm tone. Okay, he's just saying that. I thought Kid Shiki just walked in or something. Alright. Hey, old man. The assassin once feared as the demon god raised the voice in an extremely calm tone. People's lives are very well made. Oh, what makes you say that? Nothing. I just felt that way. Muttering that, Kitty stopped talking. 6 years ago, as the head of the Nanayas, he had a child. There you go. 6-year-old Shiki. In order to maintain the precision of being assassins, they made the generation transition early. By the time their physical ability started to decline, the child had already matured, and the name of the Naya is succeeded to the next generation. His elder brother and younger sister already had children, and they were receiving training as the potential successor. Compared to them, Kitty had a child quite late. The reason this is really cool, by the way. Even knowing how it's just gonna be obliterated. Oh my god. This is a really cool backstory. The reason Kitty never had a child was because he simply didn't find the need to do so. He was just thinking of having his older brother or younger sister's children be the successor. For Kitty, who only had an interest in how to kill people, a thing such as a child was totally beyond understanding. No, maybe Kitty already knew that he was a person who grew up while still remaining a child. A person who concentrated in one thing, chipping off everything needed as a human being. A person who was only looking at what he liked. An inexperienced child who only knew about one thing. There was no way such a child could raise a son, and obviously he never even imagined it. In other words, the child was something excessive and not needed for the Naya Kitty. That was before he saw his own son. Makes sense. I hear that's how that works. Kitty was thinking he shouldn't feel anything. He never needed it to begin with, so a son had to be something just bothersome. That's why he was thinking of seeing him just once and leaving the rest to the woman. However, his world flipped over when he saw him. It was a transformation that felt like something fell right in its place. That's how that works. Or did the thing that was possessing him since he was born disappear? Either way, the instant Naya Kitty saw this living being, he made up his mind to quit his career as an assassin. So having Shiki made him quit. Goddamn. He probably still doesn't carry such an emotion like loving his child, but he just felt that he needed to, and his lifestyle since that day completely changed. He was a man who only knew how to kill people in the first place, and now he was trying to make people live. This was literally a turning point in life. Kitty had said that people's lives are very well made. That was definitely true, and everything about the ways of making people live were new to him, and difficult. Kitty, who was accustomed to killing, was no longer bored of his life for the past months and years. Nice. Now it's getting sad. Because we know. Can I ask you something? Can I ask you something? Did you quit because you love your son? No way. I quit for myself. That's right. If a child is a duplicate copy of oneself, you didn't want to make him take the same path as you? I wanted to see if he is able to take a different path than me. Alright, that's real parent shit. I see, the doctor nodded his head. The treatment is over and Kitty turned his back. Man, even like himself as a person just being so outside of, you know, the idea of like it coming easy, like having a child and loving them and protecting them, raising them. But you know, we get some insight, like him wanting to take a different path than him, if he's able to take a different path, right? And the fact that he's trying to like, you know, protect people and help them live, and I'm describing it as difficult, but he's trying, right? Reminds me of Kusuki in that way. Like something clicked and now he's trying. Alright, take care. If we ever meet again, I might ask for your help. Oh, that's what Kitty said, okay. The doctor doesn't answer. After Nanaya Kitty left, the doctor repeats his words. If he's able to take a different path, eh? I wonder if the man who said that said that it was for himself realizes that this emotion was in fact the love of a father. Yeah, that's true. Doesn't even realize that. You fool. Why did you have to develop a human emotion now? Everything was too late. Finding happiness as a human was a misfortune for that flawless killer. Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's getting sad now, because it's impossible for you. You'll never be able to attain it. Damn. Mumbling to himself, the doctor laughed with a sigh. The killer himself must know that more than anyone. That man has already accepted his end that will eventually come. Involving his clan, including his own son, he left the path of being an assassin. Being the head of the Nanayas, he must have known. The Nanayas were able to exist because they were able to be the greatest assassins, and now that they're not, they're a target. Hence, when they go down from the top, that's when the Nanaya clan dies out. Just that its arrival came 6 years slower. Oh my god. That was all there was to this story. Damn, dude. He only got to enjoy it for 6 years. And I guess we know what happens next. Conclusion. Oh, here we go. And so it's about to happen. God damn, dude. Alright, let's do it. And so the night came. So we are unable to make contact with the men below? Yes. Additionally, the Farseers have spotted 2 groups coming in from below. Farseers, eh? They number approximately 50. I'm afraid it must be Tono's private army. Yo, this is it, dude. That's what I'm saying. Ever since back then. Oh my god. Considering their numbers, they probably intend on killing us all. Nanaya Kitty laughed delightedly. There was no feeling of anxiety. A situation where 50 armed men were closing in on this mansion. This place was deep in the mountains, and the landlord from the organization was already bought by their enemy. They were unable to seek help, and besides, there wouldn't be anyone who would come to their aid. In this situation, Kitty was laughing. Of course, because he already knew that this was coming. No, it would be more accurate to say that he was waiting for this. Don't like that. But the Tonos? I don't know such fellows. I wonder when we incurred their hatred. I wonder. Do you know? Dude, I swear, before Kitty dies, he's gonna see that Vermilion again coming for him. That's when he's gonna realize. No, the Tonos were never our targets. Besides, they are on good terms with the organization, so there shouldn't have been any instances where we did anything to them. I see. Then it must be some stupid reason. They're funny fellows to throw away their lives like that. Master, are you telling me that you're going out to fight them? Of course. We need to stop trouble beforehand, or it may disturb our sleep. If the higher-ups are just going to watch this, it'll be better for us. No matter how many we kill, they'll clean up after our mess. But we won't be able to do that without casualties either. Our enemy aren't hybrids, but armed people. They're skillful and equipped like professional assassins. You're right. We won't be able to avoid bullets. Alright, I guess that answers the question of Kiritsugu versus Kiri. Alright, I'll go on ahead and take care of the troublesome ones. I'll leave my older brother and the others in charge of disposing of the leftover meals. And so Kiri stood up. Meals. There was no need for a report on the enemy routes, since Kiri knew the terrain down to the individual trees. If he knew just the direction of the enemies were approaching from and where they were headed to, he could naturally figure out their path. Master, what is it? What should we do with your son? If you order us to do so, we'll risk our lives to take him outside. Don't. He'll just be their target. If you have combat ability, have confidence in yourself. He's still a child who doesn't even have combat ability. So the ones who need to be prioritized are you guys. But Shiki is our child. Ah, boy. I already knew, but it's cool just to... They said his name. Then let him sleep. Maybe that'll be the best way for him to survive. Goddamn. Laughing delightfully, Kitty left the room. This guy, man. Oh no. Oh no. Come on, Kitty. Gonna go down like that? I guess that's the only way he can, being who he is. Nanaya Kitty went ahead to strike the assailants. Since Kitty had been assassinating on his own, working together as a group would just mess him up. Kitty ran through in the night, the forest that he knew everything about. There were 50 enemies. They were coming up the mountain equipped with heavy artillery. Artillery? What idiots. Kitty swore as he slipped through the trees. If they were going to spend money, they should have just come from above. It was too unpractical to come up from below. Or were they seriously thinking that they could hide themselves in this mountain, against an Anaya forest filled with all kinds of traps? Oh no. And then for a split second there was a dull sound. A sudden assault, comrades who were dead before they knew it, numerous traps appearing from underground. They fired their weapons trying to resist whatever it was, and sounds and lights continued to spark. In the confusion, they decreased in number one by one. The line of command must have been disrupted. Moving disorganized, they shouted out. Even then, they were skilled individuals, and they escaped using their own judgment and silence. The only things remaining in the forest were dead bodies. There were many kinds: a dead body crushed by a collapsed tree, a dead body that was shot by his comrade, a dead body whose neck was twisted off from behind, yeesh, a dead body which was skewered through his brain to his neck, and so on. All right then. After verifying where all the assailants escaped off to, Kitty started moving again. There were slightly more than 10 enemies left in this area, a number that Kitty could take out without taking too long. But after finishing the last one, Kitty stopped. There were two options. He could go kill the other assailants, or he could keep on going down and kill their enemy leader. Oh my god, most likely waiting and seeing how things will turn out from below. The assailants should be already surrounding the mansion from all four sides. There isn't much meaning to killing them one by one. Just when he thought of killing the enemy leader and leaving the other assailants to the ones in the mansion, Naya Kitty encountered the one other attacker that newly appeared. He was a young man with a single eye. Seemingly not carrying any firearms or weapons, he appeared by himself slowly from behind the shadows of the trees. Kitty's heart pounds rapidly. The face of the man who never even lifted his eyebrows in any kind of assassination froze when he saw that young man. Dude, with one eye. Holy shit, with one eye. Yo. Without thinking twice, he made an escape. As he was doing that, he triggered all the traps set up in the area. Flying blades, collapsing trees, masses of spears shooting up from the ground. Very near. The forest shook, and after no more than a second, the place that Kitty was standing was wrecked without leaving a trace. But there was no need to do that, because the assailant wouldn't be hurt from such things in the first place. I was gonna say, that shit didn't work. Are you Naya Kitty? The young man asked, appearing from the collapsed forest as if nothing happened. Oh man. After all this time, man, the vendetta. We never slighted the Tonos before. Oh no. Kitty glanced at him without answering. The vermilion I was waiting for it. The vermilion color flowed sharper than back then. It's sharper now, dude. Oh my god. The young man was a member of a clan called Kishima. Oh, this guy was Kishima. Interesting. Mixing with a non-human race called the Ogres, the descendants of the ones who mix not only the blood but the flesh as well. A clan that was only wanted for the power of destruction. You could say they were the Nanayas of the demon hybrids, but he had heard the bloodline of the Kishimas, which always produced those who lose their mind, died out a few years ago. They weren't destroyed by others, but was killed by one who lost his mind, produced by themselves. The one who lost his mind, I heard his name was Kishima. KOUMA. KOUMA, okay. He was barely 10 when he destroyed all of the Kishimas, the clan of demons, awakening the inhuman blood within himself, one who turned himself into a demon while still being a human. I see, so... Okay, I'm gonna leave my assumptions behind and just... In an old legend, it was called Kurenai Sekishu. Hey kid, have we met before? Kitty took a deep stance and made KOUMA come into his range. The young man called KOUMA didn't answer and just raised his arm. That moment, the battle began. Kitty was forestalled. In one step, he jumped under his opponent's guard and crushed his neck before he realizes he got hit. That move he believed would have no equal got literally smashed into pieces by a single blow of the enemy. Oh god. Kishima KOUMA jumped in first before Naya Kitty took his step. Raising a wind noise, he stood in front of Kitty and thrust out his fringed arm. Oh my god. His arm? Although surprised, he dodged that and pierced the elbow of the arm that was poorly extended. That was supposed to have made KOUMA's arm useless. But KOUMA's body didn't have a scratch. Kitty instantly understood that his enemy's body was as hard as steel. and jump back to open a distance. It's built different. The demonic hand of the one-eyed chases after him. Kitty was backed up against a large tree. He lured Koma's thrusting arm and dodged it by a hairline. Koma's arm didn't stop and struck the large tree. I got him, thought Kitty. However, he decided to pull back. Oh no. Kitty prioritized his decision. In order to open a distance to Koma, who was supposed to be wide open, Kitty turned his body into a spring. That instant, the large tree that Kishima Koma had struck collapsed. Huh? Many things occurred for the first time tonight. Kitty raised the voice during a battle for the first time. Oh my god. But that couldn't be helped. The large tree was almost a meter thick, and there was no way it could have fallen down from just the punch of a person. And yet he knocked it down. Furthermore, it wasn't by the impact of the hit, but this man crushed the large tree in his hand. His grip strength wasn't of a dimension that could be just called strong. The single eye beamed across. It captured Kitty, who was trying to escape. Kitty laughed. He didn't laugh at the result of his own assassination skills until now, but for the first time, he laughed thinking of the battle that was about to take place. Oh man, poor Kitty, dude. Dude, Koma is ridiculous. Look at it. It was a fabulous time. What an adjective. No matter what he did, he wasn't able to hurt the boy, and the only thing he could do was turn around. Fabulous, really? That's the word you chose, Nasu? Oh, man. All the traps set in the forest had no effect, and Kitty's weapon couldn't even scratch him. There was no chance for him to win. There was no chance for him to go home alive. But it was a fabulous time. At least Kitty felt that way. Yeah, fabulous is more describing how Kitty felt about it. You know, as he's laughing about it, right? Just this for the first time being put in this position and kind of being amused by that. Kishima Koma was charging at him. That was just a charge. He was surprised by the speed at first, but it was nothing after he got used to it. Goddamn. At any rate, this man didn't know any skills of assassination. His charge like a gust of wind, his arm that thrust like the sickle of the god of death, his body of steel that repels all kinds of weapons. Oh shit. It's like Shiro on steroids. He was just born with all of these things. The young man called Kishima Koma never did anything that could be considered as training. That was such a simple and primitive form of destruction with nothing extra. Kitty couldn't stop laughing. The demonic arm that could destroy him just by touching flew right in front of his eyes. Dodging that to the left by a hair's breadth, he thrust his weapon at his enemy's unguarded left side of the neck. Of course, that had no effect. He'd been repeating it dozens of times, but Koma's neck wasn't hurt. Kitty was laughing at himself in his mind. You can't even kill one person after all this, and you call yourself the greatest assassin? But there was no need for an embarrassment. If it had been against a normal person, the precise blows would have certainly killed him 40 times over. Yeah, that's a good... Kitty, the fact that he's even alive really speaks to his skills. Like, he can't beat Koma. He knows he can't. Like, it's a hopeless fight. But to last this long? Yeah. Without missing a single millimeter, dodging the demonic hand of instant death, he keeps on hitting the same spot. How could anyone else but Nanaya Kitty do such a thing that could even be considered an illness? Yeah, exactly. After several collapses of trees, when Kitty saw Koma's arm crushing the trunk in his hand, he thought, if Nanaya Kitty was a demon god who pursued killing, Kishima Koma must be a demon god who was a master of destroying. Their powers were similar but different. A good match. It's probably wrong to compare them, but Kitty knew that he was inferior to him. The only one who can fight against this demon god equally is one who is a similar master of death. After all, Nanaya Kitty, who pursued death, who never had it from the beginning, couldn't get up to that level. I wonder if, So I guess Shiki, in that regard, under the very right circumstances, could beat Koma. I mean, miss the guise of death perception, right? If there was anything who could fight with him equally, then it would be just like this demon god, a thing that was born broken. However, for this reason, because it was Nanaya Kitty who wasn't born with death, there was a horizon that could be reached. Ooh. Interesting. After several demonic hands of Koma, Kishima Koma's expression didn't change one bit. That was because he was an uninterested killer just like Nanaya Kitty in the past. Dude, this is his key day. This is Kiryu's key day, dude. Parallels. A killer who did not fear his own death nor his target, but just concentrated on his own activities. We both were losing out, weren't we, kid? Kitty thought, and killing his laughter, he prepared for the final blow. I was really losing out. I never knew that a battle was something so awful. A fear that flips over your heart, uncertain of if your blow will be able to defeat your opponent. The mind turned white and everything becoming meaningless. I feel like throwing up and it's difficult to kill my laughter. I was really losing out. There is a problem with its shape, but this is such a simple struggle for life. Then there could be no other moment that I would feel so alive. Nice. I mean, shit, we know how it ends, but it's pretty wild that he did this well. Like, I mean, just among the main Tsukihime people we know, they're all fucking monsters, basically. Ark, like OG vampires, CL is nutty, shiki, mystic eyes of death perception, like. But Kiri, just as a demon, like a human demon hunter with just his specific psychic ability, like he's just a guy. Like he can read into people's thoughts, but that's like his main extra ability. He's just a guy who's fighting a actual fucking demon right now. That's wild. The flying demonic arm. Again, dodging by a hair's breadth, Kitty rolled over to the right side. A change occurred in Kishima Koma's single eye. Similarly, Nanaya Kitty himself, for the first time, felt his own death. Because Nanaya Kitty kept on dodging to the left side, Kishima Koma couldn't follow his target that slipped to the right side. In addition, this is an absolute blind spot for him who has his right eye crushed. Makes sense. The flying weapon. With all of his strength, Kitty strikes his weapon into Koma's neck. Not to the left side of the neck that he had kept on striking, but to the right side. Precisely just like the left side to the location where it is beautifully symmetrical. Damn, he conditioned him. The reason he poked a child's eye the moment he saw him. This is the reason. Wow! Wait, what? He, at the time, sensed that he wouldn't be able to defeat the monster called Kishima Koma, and just this once in his life, he prepared a chance to win out of a personal emotion. Oh my god. Kiri is a monster, dude. What the hell? In that moment back then, that was why he did that? Holy fuck. Like, he immediately knew, I can't beat him as he is. I have to create a chance for the future. Because he felt that way. Oh my god. In the distant future, if there were a time when he had to fight this monster, he'd be able to end it with this one blow. You bastard. The dry and dead voice of Koma. Damn. Kitty was the one who cursed. The laughter that he was suppressing subsided. His weapon was embedded into the neck about 1 centimeter. Dude, Kitty is... Oh my god, dude. This guy. The impact should have penetrated to the left side of the neck for sure. Wait, then the accumulated damage should have broken Kishima Koma's neck. What are you? Oh no. Then, why was Kishima Koma raising his voice? Kitty was knocked over into a tree. Koma snatched his body and just threw him. Nanaya Kitty's stomach area was crushed in that instant, and his remaining upper body slides down the trunk. Damn, dude. Not even that was enough. The next moment, Kishima Koma ran to the tree and Nanaya Kitty's face was smashed instantly. Fuck, dude. There was a reason Nanaya Kitty lost, and it must have been his life itself. Nanaya Kitty was an assassin, not a murderer. That's why he only poked the eye out at the time. Right, otherwise he would have just killed him. Even if he sensed that it would eventually become a powerful threat, he wouldn't kill a child. There it is. That's the difference. That was the most simple reason why Kishima Koma lived and Nanaya Kitty died. Yeah, that's why I didn't even look at that back then as something merciful, because it's such a cruel thing to do. Oh my god, this song. But even then, he restrained himself, because he wasn't a killer. Or rather, not a murderer. He was a killer, but not a murderer, right? It wasn't about just killing him. He wasn't the target, nor was he in his way, so he didn't have a reason. Just out of his own personal emotion, he took that measure, but even that, because he didn't have it in him to just murder him for no reason, this is what happened. And Tsukihime does make that distinction a lot between what being a murderer actually is. Like, even the way like Shiki broke it down in the plus disc to that dude who's impersonating him. Yeah. I like that shit. And also, you know, Ryogi did that too in K&K. Kishima Koma felt his neck slowly. There was a dull pain. A dull pain. Koma didn't know. He grew up without knowing what pain was. That's why he didn't know that if this pain would be a little stronger, his neck would have fallen off. Ah. Damn. So close, yet so far. His heart pounded rapidly. An unknown order ran through his body. His fingertips shook and his eyes couldn't focus. He breathed consciously for the first time and looked down at the dead body in front of him. Another heartbeat. His body felt hot like it was part of another person. It feels like a dream, Koma thought. But that's not it. He finally woke up from a dream. 6 years ago. Just like Nanaya Kiri, who hurt the child who might kill him out of his own will for the first time, and lost his sanity. It was just that the cluttered mist on himself, where everything felt empty and meaningless, came off. But he couldn't understand what it was. He couldn't stand it when he thought of the mist returning and he would return to his empty self again, if he did nothing. It's hot, but it's a pleasant heat. That's what it means to live and to breathe. So, did this wound Kitty inflicted awaken this? Oh my god. It was after he killed this man that he felt it. That's why. That's why he thought that if he repeated it, this heat would continue. Okay. A voice leaked out from the monster's mouth. The monster started walking into the Nanaya forest. He was losing his mind. So killing Kitty awakened that. KOUMA, huh? Alright, now we know about KOUMA. Oh boy. I guess time to end it. This is an interesting version of the song. Oh my god. Their screams sounded like a reed cropping. The moon was in the distance. Beautiful moon. The forest was quiet. I started walking into the empty darkness. I met a demon in the black field. The ground was burnt and the grass field had turned into a wild land. That wild land was vermilion covered, as if it was stuffed with strawberries and red colored like blood. So the demon Shiki saw was KOUMA. It wasn't Makihisa, it was KOUMA. There was a vermilion colored demon standing there. Son of a bitch. It was hazy like a mirage, so it wasn't so scary. When I vacantly looked up to it, it looked like it was laughing. But maybe it didn't know how to laugh, and it didn't look too happy. Are you in Nanaya? It said, laughing. I nodded yes, and asked if it knew where my dad was. The demon smiled even more. You'll eventually see him. As he said that, sharpening his red eyes, he disappeared as if he was eaten by the bush. Someone is calling me in the distance. It's scary to be alone, so I need to go deeper into the forest. On the other side of the curtain of trees, there are noises like a festival. Nanaya Shiki walks deeper into the forest. This is the end of the story, yep. Fuck, dude. It's an old story that no one knows about anymore, so there isn't anyone who knows how it ended either. If there is anyone, it's probably only that. KOUMA? A blue moon in the sky. The story begins here. And so, yep, the intro of Tsukihime and everything that happens later. Goddamn, dude. Cool, so we learned about KOUMA, because yeah, when they talked about the Kishimas earlier, and I guess about KOUMA when he was a kid, right? The placement of that within the story was confusing to me, but it makes sense in hindsight now. It was him. The one that Kitty let live All right. Retirement. What the fuck? Well, that's oddly appropriate to Kitty, but damn, dude. Okay, that side story, man. That's gonna be tough to beat. Like, Akia's was cool. Was like really interesting, but it's gonna be hard to find one that I probably personally enjoy more than that. That's crazy. You know, this kind of reminds me of like kind of the proper way to experience some, stay night, and then you go through that, and then people recommend to do that, to play that, and then you can watch Fate Zero, and then move to all the other UFO table anime and shit. But to go through it that way, as far as Fate goes, then you learn about Kiritsugu, right? This feels like that, but I experienced it the proper way. Like I know about Shiki and everything that happened, and now I'm seeing what Kiri was all about, which is crazy, man. And because probably my favorite thing about him was the way he shifted when Shiki was born, right? Like just that shift in him that even he didn't really understand, that the doctor pointed out, even at that point, Kitty acknowledging the change, but not really acknowledging the emotional side of, that being a father. But that's exactly what happened. And he was trying, right? He was trying to protect them, to help them live, raise his son. Yeah, it reminded me of Kuzuki, and that's just like a really like cool thing about his character, that change. Because other than that, he's like this badass killer, just really edgy, just really badass, right? Like that kind of archetype is like, okay, that's cool, but that's kind of like all that was. But I like that shift that they showed, and it just made it sad, Like fuck, dude. Especially that Shiki himself, just his memories were fucked, and he can't even remember that fact. The fact that probably for 6 years, Shiki did have a good like childhood with his like real dad, his real mom, that he has no memory of, and he just feels no connection to. Like he'll never really know about his dad. That's crazy, man. His dad, who is so badass, even as a human, with his like an auxiliary, like he said, an auxiliary psychic ability where he can like read into people's thoughts and emotions. Like that's very cool, especially when you take into the fact that Kishima kid, right? Because it was like the same thing for him, right? He had like a similar, like they were really, the comparisons between them was an interesting aspect of it, like kind of like a rivalry that was always meant to be from that moment, but due to Kitty not being a murderer, he was a killer, but he wasn't a murderer. And even with that precaution, he just lost just because he didn't go all the way, which is respectable. Like he didn't want to kill a fucking kid, of course, right? And it was a part of his mission. Out of his own personal emotion and cruelty, that's what he did. Like, I was really fucked up, of course. That's wild, though, man. That's crazy. I love the way Nasu framed this one. That was really fucking cool. Yeah, I'm just lured the fuck out. Talked about demons, which is not something that, besides like the specific cases of the Tonos and a little bit about the Nanayas from Tsukihime, even in like Fate works and stuff, you don't really hear like specifics about demons too much, and kind of where they are in the lore, at least from what I remember. I might be wrong on that, but more here than anywhere. It has to be more than they talked about, more than anywhere. The specifics of even like the organization, right, and being outside of that, and kind of the politics within that, just killing all the fucking time. Those of mixed human and inhuman blood, that mix, and those within that and those outside of it, psychic abilities, that kind of thing. Again, it makes me consider what is classified as psychic, right? Would you classify as mystic eyes as like an innate psychic thing? I know there are like triggers that awaken them, but you have to be like kind of born predisposed to that, right? There's a trigger for the awakening we've seen in Death Perception and the others as well, but I don't know, it just makes me wonder, from what I've seen so far, characters I've seen, whether that be Fate, Karo no Kyokai, Tsukihime, like who would fall under that category? Let me know if you guys can let me know that. It might be what I've said or just something I haven't thought of. I think Kaden's might, like I said, would fall under that, just because hers is just an innate sense that she has. Sense, and it also fucks her body up. But yeah, that was cool as fuck, man, dude. Shout out to Kitty, man. That was so cool. Goddamn. Yeah, that was tight. So yeah, let me know if you have any thoughts about this side story. There might have been some things I missed in there just because I was trying to keep up, and they're playing the pronoun game a lot. Nasu was, just to like, I guess, to build up what was coming and what was happening. So I apologize if I got anything wrong. The story naturally corrected me as I got toward the end, and I realized a couple things. So I think that was the main thing. But yeah, I just overall enjoyed that. So yeah, let me know if you had any thoughts, and I'll be returning back to the main story in the next part, and we'll keep things going. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's gonna be hard to beat that one. It's gonna be very hard to beat that one. So yeah. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you're seeing this on YouTube, I do early access to this Let's Read of Kagetsu Tohya. If you want to see more parts of this, check out my Patreon. Link in the description for $5 if you want to support the channel. You get early access to that. You'll get a few parts ahead on this. That's like hours more of content, as well as like all the other series I react to. If you want to check that out, that's there. But once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.